South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south-of-the-border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Hi, I'm Kurt Angle. I represented the United States in the Olympics in 1996 and won a gold medal. Then I parlayed that into a pro wrestling career. I saw a commercial a few years ago.
Tunnel to Towers Foundation made a promise.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation is paying off the mortgages for Gold Star families with young children. I thought, this is really cool. I want to be a part of it. My dad served in the Army for 30 years. We didn't have a lot of money, but he made sure we had what we needed. He set a great example for all of us. He died in a construction accident my freshman year in high school. When he died, we didn't have any income coming in, and we ended up being forced to move out of our house. I was devastated. So I understand what these families are going through, and to have an organization like Tunnel to Towers come in and pick you up and carry you and give you a home to live in, I think that's just amazing. I'd like to ask you to donate $11 a month to support these efforts by going to t2t.org or calling 1-844-BRAVEST.
The following is a Race Day Las Vegas presentation in association with Siraco Productions Limited on the Race Day Las Vegas Radio Network.
Live from the gaming capital of the world, time for Race Day Las Vegas, covering the sport of kings with a Las Vegas perspective. Now to the race desk with your host, Ralph Siraco.
From the backstretch to the turf club, at the racebooks and on the internet, to all horse players around the world, a good morning. All righty, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Race Day Las Vegas radio program on this almost Friday, Thursday. We come to you live and direct from the gaming capital of the world. A little bit soggy this morning, right here from the studios at the South Point Studios streaming network at YouTube, at the South Point Hotel Casino Complex on Las Vegas Boulevard in Las Vegas. We welcome you to the show, and of course, we welcome all of our listeners running around town. Stay safe out there because it might be slippery with the wet roads from overnight rains. At Sports Talk 1400 AM, 107.1 FM. That's our local radio station here in town. And, of course, anywhere you get your podcasting and our websites, racedaylasvegas.com, .vegas.world, .global, iPhone, Android, Google phone with the apps, KSHP app that you can listen to through the radio station, and the YouTube app that you can see and hear us at the YouTube app on your devices. So there you are. Welcome to the show. We had rain overnight here in Las Vegas, and it came into the early morning hours. So it is now clear and bright and beautiful here in Las Vegas. The clouds, the rain has passed. It's gone east, and but the roads are still a little bit slippery. But we're going to have a lot of wind today here in Las Vegas. Now, right now outside, it's 46 degrees. We're only going to get up another 10 degrees. We're going to top out at 56 today here in Las Vegas. So it's going to be chilly out there and windy for the most part today in Vegas. And then after that, we get into the weekend, and it's going to be sunny, bright, and beautiful in case you're deciding to spend a weekend up here in Las Vegas with all that we have to offer you. And those will be typically the weather. And it's always fast, firm, and perfect, of course, in the race and sports book. We welcome you to the show. All right. Now, that's for the weather here in Las Vegas. And as you know, we have more weather around the country, and the weather around the country will involve some of the racetracks around the country. Now, right now, it seems that there's a lot of action going on over the California, the Sierras there. The rain in Southern California, the first burst went through here from there yesterday, but there's still a little rain in the area in Southern California right now. So we'll wait and see how the weather's going to shake out for the upcoming weekend there in Southern California. A lot of snow, though, in parts of northern Nevada. You got it in Idaho. You got it in Utah, up there in Colorado, etc. So there's a lot of snow going on in the Plains area. And then, of course, more snow up there in north of the Great Lakes area into Canada and parts of northeast Ohio and northwest of Pennsylvania. Now, it seems like everything on the East Coast, as far as the racing is concerned, is all concentrated way up north, up by Maine, so shouldn't be not much weather going on there as far as that's concerned. However, we do understand that today at Gulfstream Park, they've already come off the turf. We understand that they're off the turf today at Gulfstream Park, so they must have had some weather there. But that's gone through too, because it's nice and it should not be nice and clear at Gulfstream Park today. As far as the temperatures, New York's going to top out at 54, so there'll be a couple of degrees lower than we will. 76 in Miami. You got 55 in LA with some rain still around there. And as I say, high winds today and about 56 degrees here in Las Vegas. Chicago, 43 degrees. They'll top out there at 43. Brownsville, Texas, going to be 80 degrees today. Wow. And Kansas City, 49. So the cold is up in the northern part of the contiguous 48 and over to the western side of the United States as well. So there you have it. Okay, yesterday at Gulfstream Park, we had a lot of stuff going on at Gulfstream yesterday as far as weather, etc. But let's see, everybody on the card. We had no trainer had more than one win apiece out of the 9 races. Ired Ortiz Jr. had a couple of wins yesterday, paying $320 for Richard Solman in the 7th. And Kevin Rice, he came through for Kevin Rice in the 8th race, paying $16 even for Ired. The late and early pick 5s at Gulfstream Park paid very well. Started out in the first race $15.60, then $13.60, then the $2.60 winner there for Safi Joseph. Then came a $75.60 winner in the 4th race. Tapped off in the 5th race at $8.20. That 50-cent pick 5 paid $11,709.45, but it was not the highest pick 5 payoff yesterday at Gulfstream. The late pick 5 that started out at $8.20, $15.80, $3.20, $16 even, and $18 even. That thing came back $12,603.15. Didn't have that $75 horse in it, but enough damage was done with the middle-priced winners that got that done and got that up there like that. So, and in the 5th race, Jonathan Hardoon came with a pick in the 5th race, and he mentioned the fact that he liked it because it was trainer Marty Drexler. But Marty Drexler had 2 horses in the race. Well, Jonathan's horse found trouble in the race with Joel Rosario aboard, and Marty Drexler's other horse won and paid $8.20. So sometimes it's flipping the coin with the trainer there. And our man, Dwayne Carlucci, the 2nd Wednesday in a row, he comes up with a winner for us. You remember, not yesterday, but the Wednesday before, he came up with a nice winner on Saturday at the Saturday card at Gulfstream Park with all those big stakes races. Yesterday, he came up with a winner that ran yesterday at Turfway Park. In the 2nd race, Flicker reported home easily and paid $5.62. Remember, they pay down to the penny there in Kentucky, $5.62 for Dwayne Carlucci's winner yesterday. 2 in a row here on the Wednesday Race Day show. So if you're not watching on Wednesdays, you're missing something, okay? All righty. Taking a look at some of the things that we're going to do today, we're going to take a look at a couple of the Tampa Bay races. They drew for the Tampa Bay Derby and the Oaks. We'll take a look at those 2 races. We'll also take a look at the Azeri, where Torpedo Anna is returning to the races after her Horse of the Year victory in the Eclipse Awards. She makes her 2025 debut at Oaklawn Park on Saturday. And the Beholder Stakes at Santa Anita came up a very interesting race for the older fillies and mares. Tomorrow in Ireland at Dunkdale Racecourse, the Patent Stakes will be the final Euro race that has Kentucky Derby leaderboard points attached to it. That race has 20 leaderboard points attached to it. But looking at the way the European horses have run as far as the point getters for the Kentucky Derby in Europe, even the winner of the Patent Stakes won't make the cut in the Kentucky Derby. However, the UAE Derby that's on April the 5th, on the Dubai World Cup, big night of racing there, that has 100 points to it. So that horse could make it to the Kentucky Derby. The Challenger Stakes at Tampa, one of the undercard stakes races at Tampa Bay on Saturday, will be Skippy Longstockings will be going for his 3rd straight win in this particular race. He's in the Challenger Stakes on Saturday. Skippy Longstockings goes for his 3rd straight Challenger win on Saturday there. And just talking about Flavien Prat. This guy is going to rack up a lot of frequent flyer miles on Delta Airlines. Here's what he has coming up this month. He'll be at Tampa Bay tomorrow for the Tampa Bay Derby, in which he rides Chance McPatrick for Chad Brown. And then next week on the 15th of March, he'll be at Colonial Downs riding in the Virginia Derby on a horse called Rapture. And by the way, that race, the Colonial Downs, the Virginia Derby, Bob Baffert has already decided to send Gaming there. So Gaming is going to be in the Virginia Derby at Colonial Downs on the 15th of March as well. Of course, coming off of a couple of bad efforts there. Then Pratt will be at the Fairgrounds on the 22nd of March for the Louisiana Derby. And then he'll either be at Oaklawn Park or Gulfstream Park on the last Saturday of March, on the 29th, to either ride in the Arkansas Derby or in the Florida Derby. And even Flavien Prat can't be in two places at one time. So we'll see which way he goes there. So he's going to be a busy man in the month of March looking for a Derby mount, that's for sure. The national handle in the month of February was down 8%, but there is a reason for that. There were the number of races during the month of February was down 11.3%. Now, race players are out there wanting to play races, but we have to have the product to play. And between the shorter fields, the less days per week during the wintertime at racetracks, and the fact that there were a lot of weather cancellations provided these figures for February. So keep that in mind. Down 8%, yeah, I know, in handle. And number of races down 11.3%. So with better weather, we should be just A-OK. Now, as far as other Derby horses, Journalism has returned to the racetrack after his big win in the San Felipe Stakes. He's back on course. He'll probably go in the Santa Anita Derby. Also, gaming, as we said, is going to be pointing towards the Virginia Derby. Eastern Avenue, we still don't know what's up with this horse. He just ran such a bad race in the Risen Star that we're waiting to see where he shows up next if he stays on the Kentucky Derby trail. And as far as other horses, Baeza, who won a nice maiden race, a big maiden race at Santa Anita recently. Trainer John Sheriff says he's going to point him towards the Santa Anita Derby, knowing full well that a horse goes from a maiden win right into a stakes race like that is not something you typically do, but Sheriff says he's running out of time. So he's going to get Baeza to go in the Santa Anita Derby at Santa Anita. And those are some of the other horses that are making their way into their next Derby starts. But we'll be taking a look at the Tampa Bay Derby here right after the break with Jonathan Hardoon. Jonathan Hardoon's coming back with us. Rich Ang will be here. He's got a pick. I think he's got a pick for college basketball today, too. And then we have John Lindo standing by and Jerry J as well. And, of course, your racing menu. So without any further ado, we're going to get to our first break. And when we come back on this windy morning here in Las Vegas, we'll get started with your racing menu. Don't forget, if you're at YouTube, subscribe. It's free. And then you can get in that chat box, and they're chatting away already on the chat box for today. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Las Vegas, time to go out and get you some menu racing for today. And as we always remind you, the first post times we broadcast on this racing menu each and every day reflect that of the Pacific time zone. We are in the Pacific time zone here in Las Vegas. These will be the first post times that roll out in our racebook here at the South Point right behind us. So if you're in the Pacific time zone, no problem. These are your post times. But you're listening, I know that we have... our feed goes around the world, so we know we're in a lot of different time zones. Whatever time zone you're in, adjust it to the Pacific time zone, and it'll be right for you, so you don't miss anything like I miss Mom and Dad, okay? We begin with the racing menu today at Mahoning Valley Racecourse. Mahoning Valley Racecourse has a Pick 6 jackpot carryover. That carryover is $18,242. They have 8 races at Mahoning today and a first post time of 9:15. Gulfstream Park. As we said, Gulfstream Park off the turf today. That means the second race, the fifth race, and the eighth race are coming off the turf. First post time for 9 races today at Gulfstream Park is at 9:50. And, of course, their Pick 6 jackpot carryover is starting to build up again. As you know, it was a mandatory payoff on Sunday. So today, the Pick 6 jackpot carryover stands at $17,801. First post time at Gulfstream for their 9-race card is set at 9:50. Then we go to the Fairgrounds in New Orleans. Fairgrounds has 10 races and pretty full fields today at the Fairgrounds. Their first post time at Fairgrounds today for 10 races is set at 10:45. Then we go to Sunland Park. Sunland Park has 9 races today. First post time at Sunland is set at 11:25 at Sunland. Turf Paradise has 9 races. Their first race is going to be a quarter horse race, and the other 8 will be thoroughbreds. Now, you know they had that big Pick 6 jackpot the other day at Turf Paradise. So the Pick 6 jackpot carryover today stands at $3,286 at Turf Paradise today. Their first post time at Turf Paradise, 11:55 for their 9-race card. Then we go out to Penn National. Penn Nat has 9 races today. Penn National has a super high 5 jackpot carryover, $5,651. First post time at Penn National today is set at 2:45 for their 9 races. Then we get to Turfway Park. Turfway Park has 10 races. They're still got full fields at Turfway, man. I'm telling you, you got a lot of horses there at Turfway. Turfway Park has a super high 5 carryover of $3,719. But the big carryover at Turfway Park is the Pick 6 jackpot carryover. That thing stands at $104,764. $104,764 for the Pick 6 jackpot at Turfway Park. 10 races, full fields. First post time is at 2:55. And then we have Charlestown. Charlestown wraps up the menu today with 8 races and a Pick 6 jackpot carryover of $31,627. Their first post time is at 4 p.m. for 8 races at Charlestown. That's your Thursday menu of racetracks. Now let's get out to Jonathan Hardoon standing by. Jonathan, good morning.
Good morning, Ralph. How are you?
I'm fine, man. So you flipped a coin with the Marty Drexler, and you got the the other horse.
I went to the 10-1 shot that ended up being 2-1, and the 3-1 ending up going off 7-2. So, by the way, we had the right Marty Drexler horse in the race. He just got a horrible trip, but no use in complaining.
Yeah, that'll happen sometimes, and unusual for Joel Rosario. He usually finds spots to race, but not yesterday.
No, exactly.
In any case, we've got the Tampa Bay Derby coming up on Saturday, and of course, in the Tampa Bay Derby, it holds 50 points for the Kentucky Derby Future Book, and they drew that race, and it'll be I believe it'll be what is it the
11th race. There's only 7 horses.
Okay, the 11th race, and there's only 7 horses in the race. You're right. Brad Cox has got Patch Adams in there, and I'm excited to see how this horse runs this race because he was so impressive in his last race.
Well, last time out he got beat. 2 starts back, he was impressive in the 7 furlong race when he broke his maiden. But the race really looks like it's a 2-horse race, to be honest with you. Owen Almighty, who already has 2 races over that track, and it's important to have a race over the track, breaks from the rail, and he ran very well in both of those races. And the interesting horse, obviously, is going to be Chancer McPatrick, because the whole question with Chancer McPatrick when he was a 2-year-old was whether he wants to go 2 turns. He ran 2 turns in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile and didn't run well that day. However, that race was kind of close to the races before that. He was coming off the Champagne that day, so you may want to give him a little break, and let's see what happens. If he grew up, now that he's a 3-year-old, he may be the horse to beat, but he's probably going to be the favorite.
Even getting beaten his last race, Patch Adams still, he impressed me a lot.
Yeah, he's a nice horse. There's no question. I mean, he draws post 7 where Chancer McPatrick and Owen Almighty are drawing in posts 1 and 2. Now, by the way, Chad Brown is putting blinkers on Chancer McPatrick as well. And remember, he went off 2-1 favorite in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile or certainly not the favorite, but 2-1. He certainly took money on Breeders' Cup Juvenile Day.
Yeah, he did, and he gets Flavian Pratt too. He's going to be riding Chad Brown. Brown's got 2 horses in the race. Hill Road, another one of his, an offspring of Quality Road, will break right next to Chancellor McPatrick. McPatrick has the 2-hole. Owen Almighty has the 1-hole. So you got Owen Almighty at 1. You got Chancellor McPatrick at 2. Hill Road, the other Brown horse, is number 3. And then you got Bordeaux, Filoso, Naughty Rascal, and Patch Adams will be the outside horse at the 7 horse for Brad Cox. I think this is a good competitive race.
It is. By the way, Ralph, Hill Road will be making his first start for trainer Chad Brown. You know, he was trained by a European trainer, I guess, and they left him with Chad Brown, or he just took over, whatever it is. Chad Brown now trains Hill Road for the first time. So pay attention.
All right, we will pay attention. And now we get to the Florida Oaks. It holds no points as far as the the Kentucky Oaks. Surprisingly, I checked it on the website, and it doesn't have them as having any points for it, but it's still a prep for the Kentucky Oaks. If you run well, they'll move on with that. And there's a field.
But it is a turf horse. It's a turf race, Ralph, so maybe that's why there's no points.
Yeah, that's exactly why it's no points. But, even on the turf, if a horse runs big in the Florida Oaks, you never know. People can get Oaks fever as much as Derby fever as well. And there's 12 going in that race, and it looks like a wide-open scrum to me.
It really is. And again, most of these horses are turf horses, so who knows if they even want to run on the dirt. Every horse in this race has run on the turf in her last race. So, I don't know if they really are thinking about the Kentucky Oaks, but obviously Saturday, this is a big race for them.
Yeah, no question about that. And, you got to remember one thing, that these horses do work out on the main track all the time. So it's not like it's totally foreign to them. For sure. And then now we go to the older fillies and mares. And of course, this on Saturday, the 2024 Horse of the Year, Torpedo Anna, makes her 2025 debut for Kenny McPeak. And of course, Brian Hernandez will ride. She drew the rail in the Ziri Stakes at Oaklawn Park, and they found 6 other fillies and mares to go up against her. She is on the morning line. She's prohibitive. She's like 2-5 on the morning line. And all I can say about that is that, the other horses look like they're running for to complete the exact and the trifecta.
Listen, deservedly so. She was Horse of the Year. She was, 2-5. Obviously, she doesn't have the screws tightened here all the way, but they don't have to be tightened to beat this field, I don't think. Good spot for her return. Short field. She drew the rail. She's 1 for 1 at the track. She's 2 for 3 at the distance. She's 8 for 10 lifetime with 2 seconds. So she never runs a bad race.
And she has competed very well against the boys, that's for sure. Brad Cox will break next to her with Alpine Princess. She's the 2 horse there, and Christian Torres is going to ride. She could complete the exacta, or maybe the Steve Asmussen trainee, where his son Keith will be riding Recharge, that breaks from post 5. So one of those 2, I think we can maybe depend on the trainer to get an exacta or a trifecta with the Torpedo Anna.
Yeah, not much value, Ralph. It's one of those races you'd probably like to watch. And if you're a Torpedo Anna fan, you get to root for her. And if you're a horse racing fan, why not root for her? She's good for the game.
And if you're playing one of those pick 5s at Oaklawn Park that always seems to pay a lot of money, you could certainly probably take the big chance of singling her in that race and being safe about it for the late pick 5.
You're never safe. You're never safe at Oakland, to be honest with you. You're right.
Yeah. On Saturday, we've got the Beholder Mile at a mile at Santa Anita, and this race has 6 in it. Of course, Mr. Baffert's got it a little bit surrounded there. He only has 2 in the race, but he's got that Chilean-bred Richie will break from the rail. Antonio Fresu will ride. Very impressive, I thought, in her U.S. debut. And then a couple of stalls later, at breaking from post 3 will be Cavalieri with Juan Hernandez, his number 1 guy, on Baffert's 2 horses. And I guess it looks like the favoritism is going to be between those 2. However, Brad Cox is going to have Tarifa in the race with Mike Smith, and she could have something to say about it.
Yeah, and take nothing away, believe it or not, from Alpha Bella, who ran second last time out to Cavallari. But she ran very well in defeat. The interesting horse is going to be Richie, or however you pronounce her name. She breaks from the rail. She has 3 starts in this country, but all 3 of them were sprinting. She's going to stretch out to 2 turns. She's run 2 turns, in Argentina, wherever she came from, and it's going to be interesting to see how she runs. She's a very good horse, and she got beat last time out by Copian, who's turning out to be a very serious horse.
And when you talk about she was impressive sprinting. If you look at her past performances in Chile, she's almost like a marathon horse there, and does her best work going in our vernacular 2 turns. So it'll be interesting to see how she stretches out and gets back to a little bit more distance with her. But it's an interesting race, that's for sure. And you never know. Remember, Baffert was loaded in the San Felipe and didn't get into the winner's circle there either. So we'll wait and see about the Beholder on Saturday. Those races, of course, coming up on Saturday. And of course, in addition to that, Tampa Bay will have 4 other stakes races, and one of them will include the Challenger, where Skippy Longstockings is looking for his 3rd win in this particular race.
That's a terrific race because Brad Cox brings back a horse named Most Wanted, who was really, really impressive earlier in the year. And coming back off of a layoff, it's an interesting place to bring a horse back. But I think that horse is actually good enough. They have a lot of faith in that horse. He's got 5 starts with 4 wins and a second, so he's never run a bad race. Even Ben Doog, the horse next to him, the 7 horse, he's been impressive. He hasn't won in his last couple of races, but he's got 3 wins, 3 seconds in his last 4 starts. And like you said, Skippy Longstockings, you talk about horses for courses. Well, all this horse has done is run 2 giant races here.
Well, and he's probably set up for his 3rd giant race with Safi Joseph handling him, that's for sure. And we'll take a look at those races, of course, and get a pick or 2 from you guys on Saturday when the races come up on Saturday. Today, for all the tracks that you do, there's only one racetrack that you really do, so you only have one sheet today for Gulfstream Park, right?
Yeah, well, it's a big weekend ahead. We got a bunch of great races this weekend, so we get an early head start on them, due to the fact that they only have one track that we do running today. So for radio, Ralph, we're going to look at the 7th race. It's 1 mile and a 16th on the main track, and I like the number 3 horse in here, and as promised, this is a 3-year-old filly. Barn switch today, first time for Carlos. David Louis Sayers aboard to ride 9-2 on the morning line. This is an improving horse. She's getting better with each start. I like number 3, and as promised, to upset and win today's 7th race out at Gulfstream Park.
All right, and reminding everybody out there that the 3 turf races scheduled for today at Gulfstream, the 2nd, the 5th, and the 8th races are off the turf. Jonathan Hardoon comes in the 7th race for us at 1 mile and 16th for 3-year-old fillies. This is an optional claiming allowance race. And in the 7th race, you like the 3, Anna's Promise. Anna's Promise in the 7th race today at Gulfstream Park. No late scratches, as I see, in that race so far. So in the 7th race, number 3, Anna's Promise, with Louis Saez aboard, is Jonathan Hardoon's pick at Gulfstream Park. Well, Jonathan, you just get back to work, buddy, because we're going to need a lot of thoughts about all those great stakes races coming up on Saturday, for sure. By the way, you're in the great state of New York. Have you heard anything about the dismissal of the 2 key positions there, the clerk of scales and the starter?
Still working on it, Ralph. I will have an answer for you.
Yeah, I was just thinking there's got to be some, scuttlebutt, some conversations going on behind the scenes, and I know that you'll try to get it for us, that's for sure. All right, thanks a lot, Jonathan. Again, Gulfstream Park today at your website, right?
JONHARDOON.com. Thank you, Ralph. Stay safe and be well, my friend.
All right, you got it, my man, and we will be back. Next up is Mr. Rich Ang, so don't go away.
Here we are in Houston, opening up our first veteran village. This beautiful building that is going to house 161 homeless veterans. Any veteran that risks their lives and they're struggling with PTSD, mental illness, addiction. We're also building what I call comfort homes, 500 square foot homes. These are for older homeless veterans, so they have their own space and give them back some of their dignity, some of their independence, and most certainly give them back their life. Go to T2T.org to learn how you can change a veteran's life forever.
South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rock and dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby.
All right, back on Race Day Las Vegas. Time to go out to Rich Eng, standing by for us. Richie, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Ralphie. Good morning, viewers. Good morning, listeners.
Well, Richie, I know you're starting to sharpen the pencil and do some of the handicapping for college basketball coming up. We're getting into the conference championships now. I guess the end of the regular season is going to be on Saturday, I believe, and then they get in the conference play, right?
Yeah, some of the smaller conferences are starting this week, and the major conferences are starting next week. And I actually was not intending to give out any picks this week, Ralph, but I was minding my own business, reading some of the smaller conferences, and I came across a team that really piqued my interest today. So I'm going to give them out as my first pick, and we'll see if we can start 1-0 on the tournament schedule.
Well, okay. Hey, listen, it doesn't matter what competition it is. If you're on the right side and you make the bet, you're going to get paid just the same. So what do you got for college basketball today?
Well, I was taking a look at the Horizon League. They actually started their tournament over the weekend, and a team that I'm familiar with, Northern Kentucky University, they won their first round game 99-75 over Detroit Mercy. And the thing I read about their game recap, Ralph, was the fact that they are the hottest team in the Horizon League right now. They have been mired in near the bottom of the standings, and in the last month they've gone 8-2, including winning their last 5 games in a row. So I think they're a live dog in this next round. They're playing at Cleveland State. Cleveland State's the 2 seed, but Northern Kentucky plus 4.5 points. I'm going to give the Norsemen a chance to upset, Ralph.
Okay, Northern Kentucky over Cleveland State, 4.5 is the number that Richie last seen, and we'll go with that. Richie, but let me ask you a question. What made the big turnaround? I mean, what prompted the light to go on for these guys?
Well, you know what? They switched over to a 3-guard offense. They have a lot of seniors and juniors, and I think the coach has made some adjustments, and they've been basically playing 3 guards up tempo. They score a lot of points, Ralph, and they try to press the ball on defense. So it should be the higher the score, the better for Northern Kentucky.
Well, I see a friend of yours that's peeking his eyes over the camera there, and I was just wondering when you said you had something else for us today besides a horse pick, that maybe you were going to get into dog racing. But nevertheless, who's your buddy?
Oh, it's Kaloa. It's our little Kotan.
Okay,
I'm just trying to keep him. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you a question. Does he do any picking at all? Does he help you out?
I've been accused of him picking my picks more than I am. So you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. That's for sure. But all kidding aside, wherever he put his paw on a pick today for horse racing, what do you got?
Let's go to race number 4 at Gulfstream Park. It's not a grass race; it's a Tapeta race, and I like the rail horse. Number 1, Bourbon Outlaw, 7-2 in the morning line. This horse ran well last time out. Good second. Had a 3-wide trip, both turns. The rail draw at a mile and 70 yards. The jockey Reyes should be able to save ground all the way through. I think it's finally going to be this horse's time. Number 1, Bourbon Outlaw, race 4.
All right, the fourth race today, part of the early pick 4 and early pick 5 at Gulfstream with those huge payoffs yesterday. In the fourth race, you like the one Bourbon Outlaw, I should say. Bourbon Outlaw, the one horse in the fourth race is Richie's pick. And Northern Kentucky tonight in basketball as well. And I'm sure that his good buddy there is waiting to take a walk outside today and get something to eat for this morning. So we'll let you go and do that. Thanks a lot, Richie.
Hey, thanks, Val. Good luck, everybody.
All right, you got it, my man. And we will be back with John Lindo and Jerry Jackowitz as well, so don't go away.
If you're celebrating a special occasion or just love fine dining, you're in the right place. Come experience the crown jewel of South Point restaurants, Michael's Gourmet Room.
Welcome.
With over 600 different types of wines and magnificent dishes prepared tableside, you'll revel in the rich classic Vegas decor and the best black tie service in the world. This intimate gourmet room has earned accolades galore. Come to Michael's Gourmet Room for an unforgettable dining experience. Another famous restaurant is the Silverado Steakhouse, where you'll find the charm and service that discerning patrons require. From top quality steaks and chops to fresh seafood and desserts, you'll love the award-winning wine list and menu at Silverado Steakhouse. Steak lovers have even more options with primarily prime rib. Catering to hearty appetites, the menu features a variety of flavorful prime rib cuts, dry aged to ensure tenderness, and then seasoned and slowly roasted. Although prime rib is our specialty, it's not the only thing on the menu. There's something for everyone.
The Race Day Las Vegas Show, the only exclusive daily local media racing information source in Las Vegas.
It's almost Friday, Thursday. We're going to go out to Southern California where John Lindo is standing by. John, good morning.
Good morning, Ralph. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, my man. Now, listen, we got the rain that came through here in the wee hours of the morning, but it has moved along and out. It's now sunny and bright outside. We're going to get the wind coming up next for today, but it's a little slick out here in Las Vegas. What's the deal in Southern California? I see there's another cell that's close to Southern California might have some rain in it too.
Right. The rain is cleared out for now. The main track at Santa Anita was closed this morning. Just only training and workouts on the Tepita training track. It's windy out here. We're supposed to get another light rainstorm coming in later this afternoon into the evening that is supposed to clear out for Friday. The weekend forecast, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at Santa Anita is good. So we'll just have to play it by ear to see how much rain we get in this next storm coming on later today. And, what that does about, there's only a couple of turf races tomorrow. They anticipated this. So we'll see where we end up, what the conditions are for racing tomorrow morning.
Now, John, with the wind, I know the wind is something they don't want to see in Southern California because of the wildfires, but maybe you had enough rain to maybe prevent that. But the wind might help to dry out the track, too.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think so. Again, there's a lot of wind around here. It just depends. They got a chance to seal that track before any of the rain got into it. So it shouldn't be a problem once we're good to go as far as the weather, opening up that track and being ready. And we had a steady light rain yesterday, but it wasn't any downpour. So I don't think it's a major factor right now.
John, I know that we're getting into the run for the Kentucky Derby now with the last 50-point race coming up this weekend, and then it bumps up to 100 points. But along the way, March is usually a time here in Vegas where people go crazy on March Madness, and we have a show here on the South Point Studio streaming at YouTube, Sports by the Book, and we have a very special guest that's coming in tomorrow to help us out with looking at all the activities in college basketball. Sonny Vaccaro, Jimmy Vaccaro's brother, will be here in studio live tomorrow on Sports by the Book at 2 p.m. Pacific time, and I know you're a fan as well.
Yeah, you can tell Sonny I bought his book this week, and I've just started reading it, and I can't wait to read all the stories in there. And I'm a big fan of Sonny Vaccaro, like to say. I saw that movie Air, which was a lot about him and the whole story about Nike. So he's been around. He's seen a lot. He's Jimmy Vaccaro's brother. And those two guys between them have enough stories to cover us for a long time.
Well, they got enough stories to just make a whole cable network full of movies about those guys, that's for sure. And I can tell you this, that Sonny was very instrumental in getting a lot of the basketball tournaments here, and especially the NBA summer tournament that we have here as well. So it'll be an exciting time. Don't forget to mark that on your calendar right here at the streaming network of South Point. Sports by the Book, tomorrow, 2 p.m., Sonny Vaccaro, and I'm sure Jimmy will be here with him. That ought to be something you should certainly DVD for sure. In any case, I know that when we begin each week, no matter where you're going with the Lindell Report, at the beginning of the week covering the particular track you do, you usually update us on the jockey trainer standings. Now, you have a Lindell Report today here at the South Point, exclusively here, only here in Nevada, in Las Vegas. It's only here at the South Point, free of charge, for Gulfstream Park today. So what's the jockey trainer standings look like at Gulfstream?
Well, through yesterday at Gulfstream Park, Arad Ortiz he's pulled clear in the jockey standings. He's got 91 winners down there. Tyler Gaffalione is second with 62 wins, and Edgar Zayas rounds out the top three. He's got 55 winners. As far as the trainers go, Safi Joseph has done the same thing. He's dominated from the start. He's got 58 training wins. Jose D'Angelo second with 32 wins, and Mark Cassidy 31 wins. And for you, Ralph, the favorites are holding right at the norm there, 34% for the champions meet.
Well, we know it's a lot better than Santa Anita right now, and we'll get the update on the Santa Anita stats from you tomorrow when you have the Santa Anita sheet. Of course, Santa Anita resumes tomorrow for the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Lindell Report for every day that he does, whatever track he does, is available here exclusively at the South Point. And your schedule for the rest of the weekend?
We'll have Santa Anita with the Coast to Coast Pick 5 tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. And on Saturday, we'll do the last five the All-Stakes Pick 5 that ends in the Tampa Bay Derby at Tampa Bay Downs. That's a good sequence there, and that'll be a lot of fun.
And I know then you'll have a thought or two about the Tampa Bay Derby there, but the older fillies and mares seem to be the ones that are going to be in the spotlight this weekend, especially with the return of the Horse of the Year 2024, Torpedo Anna making her first start in the Azeri. It looks like almost a walkover for her.
Well, every time you think that, something happens. But if she breaks cleanly from the rail, she's going to be awful tough to beat. You got to think, though, Ralph, you know that she's not cranked up for this 100% because it's not the final goal. But it's not going to take her absolute A game to beat that field in the Azeri. It looks like a prep to me for the big filly race later on in the meet there at Oaklawn Park.
On many occasions, when we come to a race like this, it's usually the gamblers usually have to make a decision whether to sit the race out and just watch the brilliance of the big favorite, or if they're playing, if they're betting into the race, you can't just bet the horse to win. So you have to create something that would turn a small win, a payoff, into a little bit better to make kind of chicken soup out of chicken feathers, maybe with an exacta or a trifecta punch, or use it as a singleton in the race over race bets of the pick 4 and the pick 5, right?
Well, yeah, at Oaklawn Park too, with the chaos that tends to happen in those rolling bet sequences, if you single a 2 to 5 shot, if you can catch a number around her, you're still going to get paid. So that's what I would do. I wouldn't play in race in there because I just think that she's head and shoulders above that field on paper anyways. And so, okay, let's assume she wins. Let's try and catch something around her that's going to make the effort worthwhile.
The only thing you could possibly do in race is find a nice horse that you feel, for handicapping purposes, has a big shot of finishing second. And when you handicap the races, just extract Torpedo Anna and look at the rest of the field and then maybe punch just a straight exacta and try to make that happen. But outside of that, I can't see really can't make any money in the race.
No, and I really want to root for her. I want her to run well because I think she's important for us through the rest of the year. And I'd love to see her at Del Mar this summer or this fall in the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I wouldn't try to make a bet in the race to beat her, but I might make a bet in the race for a solid horse to run second at a price and maybe beef up the payoff there. In any case, I think the Beholder out at Santa Anita is a much more competitive race. You got Baffert with 2 horses in that race, and the Chilean horse that I'm waiting to see get that 2 turns here in America after having such a great record at longer distances in her homeland. And Cavalieri, of course, gets his main guy, Juan Hernandez, aboard. And then, of course, Brad Cox is sending out Tarifa, and he's not coming out for a roast beef sandwich.
No, Tarifa's a multiple grade 2 winner, trying to get a grade win under her for Godolphin. And Cavalier for Bob Baffert is undefeated from 3 starts, untested. And the way she beat Alpha Bella last time, there was something left in the tank in her. She's looking to replace Adari Manor as the stable, the older filly and mare in the Bob Baffert stable. She's got a good chance to do it. Richie from the rail, we know she has sprint speed coming out of all those sprint races, and she'll be sent. And you got to think if they leave her alone too long, she's dangerous. So those are the 3 headliners in the race. I think Cavalier, at least, looking at the race quickly on paper, she gets the right trip stocking her stablemate. She'll probably get first run on Tarifa.
Well, it'll be a more interesting race, I think, than the Azeri will. But, of course, the Azeri were all sitting there just waiting to see the brilliance of Torpedo Anna in a new year, 2025. Back to Gulfstream Park today. Becomes a slimmer pickings at Gulfstream Park when you take the turf races off the turf. And so we're looking for a pick from you at Gulfstream.
Yeah, I sent a note to Sean. I called an audible this morning because the pick I originally sent you was on the grass. It was a turf horse in the 8th race. So I scratched that play. I'm going to go to the 4th race, and I ended up on the alternate on the same horse as Rich Yang. 4th race, number 1, Bourbon Outlaw. This is a horse that is much better on the Tapeta than she is on the dirt or anything else. She doesn't even train well in the dirt, but she's really improved last couple starts on the Tapeta from the inside with some speed drawn in the race. She'll fall into a pocket here, and I think at 7-2, that's a very fair price. So race number 4, number 1, Bourbon Outlaw, 7-2 at Gulfstream Park.
All right, we got the good housekeeping seal of handicappers' approval in the 4th race at Gulfstream today with John Lindo and Rich Eng landing on number 1, Bourbon Outlaw. It's the outlaw for us today, and should provide a little after-dinner drink of bourbon, maybe. In the 4th race, the 1, Bourbon Outlaw, John Lindo's and Rich Eng's pick today. In the 4th race, the 1, Bourbon Outlaw. And, of course, you can get the rest of the Lindo report right now at right here at the South Point, free of charge. And, John, I do know that you note on your Lindo report on days when there may be a chance for turf races to come off the turf. When you get to the turf races on the Lindo report, you also put in parentheses, if it comes off the turf, how you think they'll proceed on that by the notions of meaning any surface is fine, or main track only, or turf only. So you do those designations for situations like today.
Yeah, I try and put a preference as where the pick is, where I want to see that horse run, whether it be main track, turf, or any surface, if it doesn't matter. So those I did include today. I didn't think they would come off the turf, but they did. So I'm glad I put that on there.
All right, John, stay dry, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
You got it, Ralph. Good luck today.
All right, now we're going to go to Jerry Jackowitz standing by. Jerry, good morning.
Good morning, Ralph.
I got a few text messages and a few people that emailed me talking about when you talked about value in a race and putting a number on a horse, specific odds on a horse for win betting. But with the CAW, the way it is now, and the fluctuation of the odds, when I was talking to you about a horse that might be 6-1 or 7-2 going in the gate, comes out and wins the race and pays $6 even. It's kind of hard for people to put a value limit on a bet when that late money is coming in so much. But you said it was okay, didn't you?
Yeah, well, what I said is okay. First of all, once you make the bet, the odds can change. This is not
right, but usually not drastically, but it is now. They are now.
Well, it has been a big problem. That's one of the reasons also that I tend to stay away from the win bet as much, and I tend to do spreads and emulate a win bet using the exacta pools.
Okay.
Because that definitely helps.
Uh-huh.
But I'm a bigger better. If you don't have a lot of money to do the spreads the way I do them, weighted wheels based on payoff outcomes and some handicapping, but more on payoff outcomes. And I try and emulate the win price and then move it slightly in my favor based on my selection ideas.
But do you see, though, that with the CAW, how the odds change a little bit more drastically than they used to?
They do. Well, they absolutely do, and that's part of playing the game. But the same thing happens. The same thing happens when they're wrong. You get an overlay. Your overlay gets amplified. So, right? I mean, if they bet all the money on the wrong horse and it doesn't win, the horse that ultimately wins pays a higher price.
Well, certainly that is the case.
It's not a sure thing that you're always going to have take the worst of it.
Yeah. But it seems like it's so glaring when it does happen that way, and so they were asking me about that, so I asked you about that. But
okay. And I will add one more thing. Perception is a funny thing, but I don't think they do better. They do better. I don't think they do better than the favorite in terms of quantity. In other words, I think they're wrong. Just like the favorite's wrong a lot of the times. These inside bettors aren't as they're not infallible.
Oh, okay. In other words, they're not as sharp as people might tend to think they are.
Right. They bet with a certain opinion, with a certain position, and it turns out to be wrong. Horse racing is not investment banking. When the gate opens up, things happen.
Well, sure.
Out of the control. Yeah.
Yeah, especially and most of the things that happen when the gate opens is to racing luck, and your handicapping does not.
Well, actually, what happens when the gate opens in terms of the quantity is negative. Horses hurt themselves. They grab they pull a muscle. So something happens. They can't quite produce the one horse gets left on going. That's very commonly the way it is.
And certainly traffic trouble as well. Well, I want to thank you a lot for you clarifying that. That's for sure, Jerry. And tomorrow we'll get back to work with handicapping because Aqueduct and Santa Anita will be both back in. But in the meantime, one more thing to say.
Have a great race day, everybody.